Sorry, everyone. I just had to. Well, I'll wait and explain in 30 seconds. So, everyone, I just had to redo my headphones because it was really hard to hear everyone that came in live. So, if we get anyone back in, it would be great. I just couldn't hear them before. One last time with Emil Ross from Hamilton Russell and see how he gets on. Eames!
Yay!
Yes, I'm aboard!
Finally!
Yes, thank you so much. We made it.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Right, let's throw this out and come back again. Guys, I'm afraid we're rewinding half an hour. So we're going to come back to the Hamilton Russell Chardonnay and the Hamilton Russell Pinot Noir. So have you got some oysters on the go, Eames?
I did, but I managed to get through most of them while swearing at Instagram.
So, Eames, we're just going to recap just to tell when we first met in Burgundy. What year? Can you remember what year it was?
It was 2013.
And
yeah, I was there with Godfrey when I was still at Chamonix with Cape Chamonix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't think you enjoyed that night, did you? It was a bit sort of rogue for you.
The night was fun. The trip back to our accommodation in the car the next morning was
interesting.
Rough. My eyes still burn if I think about Sean in the car and
Yeah, let's leave Sean out of this. Anyway, so talk me through. Have you got a Chardonnay? Have you got the 2016-18 Chardonnay? Yeah,
I do.
So I'm sure you heard me talking about your oak use. And perhaps I'm wrong. I might be wrong, but I love the light, like macadamia cashew nut use of oak here. Say hi to Sean. He can't.
How you doing?
He can't hear you because he's in the headphones this time. Yeah. But I was saying that I love the white nut oak influence that you get with the Chardonnay, with that like ripe yellow apple. So tell us a little bit about the farm.
So, I think the Chardonnay, we try not to. It does see about 30% new oak year on year, but it's always quite a large percentage of blonde toast. So the idea is not to let the toasting of the oak overpower the fruit profile, but rather sort of keep everything together and keep that fruit core together. I never want oak to overpower terroir character, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. It's a lot of producing often throw oak at a fruit that is not that complex to compensate for the lack of fruit component, and actually it's completely the wrong way around, isn't it? You need to use your oak to frame your fruit, not necessarily to compensate for your lack of fruit.
Yeah, exactly. It's also a lot of people reference Burgundy when they make great Chardonnay and Pinot, and I find the great Burgundies can handle a lot more heavy toast compared to the South African Chardonnays or stuff that you'd find in Australia or New Zealand. And that chariness can be quite it can sit quite separate in the wine. So we try and use oak that really integrates well and that's there in the background more than being dominant in the wine.
It's beautifully balanced. Well done, Eames.
But we've got two more.
Who's that? What's that new one?
Emma's guinea pigs are joining as well. If you don't mind.
So Emil, I know this is completely out of. Hi Emma. How are you?
Sorry, Emma's joining.
That's fine. So I thought we'd show you the steaks that we've got from the Dorking Butchery before. They're almost as good as the one from Pinchos in Robertson.
Yeah.
The best butchers I think in the world.
Yeah, no, those look good. It's just a pity. I mean, Sean's probably had some practice, but he's leaving good meat in pretty suspect hands.
No, that's a shame. So should we move on to your Pinot Noir quickly? Because I've got
Yes.
You're out of kilter. You've made me press out of kilter. So I had already mentioned the 2019 bushfires were absolutely terrible for you guys.
Yes.
So talk us through your emotional journey that was 2019.
It was quite emotional. We had one of the best. I think it would have been the best Pinot Noir crop in the history of the property. I haven't been here since the start, but the amount of work that's gone into the vineyards and everything. In 19, we had just a beautiful crop. The weight of the crop, the spacing of the bunches, everything was just spot on. Yeah. And then on I think it was the 11th of January, we had a wildfire that first it sort of passed the farm, and then the wind shifted and it came up two sides of the farm. And smoke taint was a really big problem. So we had to reject.
Did you pick any of the fruit? Did you pick it at all? Yeah.
We did. I did trials. I did sort of bucket fermentations to test smoke taint, the different compounds that you get, and we had very, very low levels of those compounds in those in the sort of trial wines.
Is it organoleptic testing, or do you do analytical testing? Is there any
analytical?
Yeah.
But what we did find was even in the wines that we made, when we decided to actually use the fruit, even in those wines, analytically they were below threshold, but we weren't happy with it. We still found we were obviously quite focused on looking for those compounds when we were tasting, but we picked up a lot of those compounds and decided not to use the fruit. Luckily, before we even picked, we phoned up some of our neighbors and other producers in the Inland Arder, and the guys that had anything to spare were willing to sell the fruit to us, so we could make some Pinot Noir from the.
It's a delicious. It's still a delicious. I mean, it's a great vintage, isn't it? 2019. So
I think it's one of the best for our area.
Yeah. It's fantastic. I just love the balance of fruit weight and elegance. Can I still hear the guinea pig? Is that the guinea pig?
I just chucked them away. They're getting.
What does Baloo make of the guinea pig?
Baloo starts drooling and Truffle.
So for anyone Baloo is Emil's Great Dane, and to have a Great Dane and a guinea pig just seems very counterintuitive, considering this Great Dane just chows everything.
We've got Truffle separating them, so it's all.
And safe. Truffle is the pug. Truffle is the all black pug. I mean, you have a Great Dane, a pug, and a guinea pig. It's not the obvious set of animals for a winemaker, is it?
No, it's a bit of a zoo at the moment.
Not a bit of a zoo, no, that is a zoo, Emil. Eames, I'm afraid we're going to have to move on to David Phillips.
Yeah, sorry about the earlier technical glitch.
No, all right.
I didn't know how to join, it just refused to, so.
No, you can't win them all, Eames.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll speak soon. Yeah, we'll chat later.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate. Bye. Right. Well, he managed to work that in the end, so thanks, Eames. We tasted his Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. Heard from him firsthand what a horrible vintage 2019 was. He should have rung their mates in the Yarra Valley who have this every kind of other year. So, David, if you're there, I can't see if you're in. Let's move on. So the next one we're going to move on to is the Pepper Pot. Another Rhone blend. So we've sort of now leapfrogged the Hamilton Russell, gone back to the Tin Mine. David.
Yeah.
Is that background, or is that your is that the view?
That's the view, mate.
That looks like a fake Zoom background.
Okay. No, that's what we look at every day, I must say. We are quite spoiled.
That is. Are you on the farm in Stellenbosch now?
Yeah. I'm not surfing at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not a view I associate with J-Bay.
No. If there wasn't a lockdown, I'd probably be on my way to J-Bay right now. But anyway, yeah. It's a tough life eating steak and chops and drinking pepper pot, but I'll live with it.
Well, so in Ode to Pepper Pot, we've had the Poiky on the go for the last 4 hours. But it's
right.
I say Poiky, it's a bit of it's an LK12. I got it from Agrimark in Stellenbosch, and it doesn't have the little legs, so it's not like a true Poiky pot, but it's it's as close. It's as close we get to. So right, tell us about the pepper pot, David. It's
I don't know.
Another Rhone blend.
It's a Rhone blend, but it actually goes back a long way. The whole idea of the wine was sort of the seed was planted in my mind in 1993 when I went as a student, just having studied at Elsenburg, and I went over we did a tour of France, and we drank our way around France and Germany. And we ended up in the Rhone. And I think in the early 90s, the Rhone wasn't kind of rock star yet. Parker hadn't quite made it as famous as it is now. And having just come from Bordeaux and seen all the, the really Lani fancy.
But not just anywhere in Bordeaux, is it? Where did you do a vintage in Bordeaux?
Nah, it's just
small estate somewhere.
Small estate called Margot, yeah. But you might have heard of it. We went and we saw these fancy places with lots of barrels and everybody's wearing a suit and a tie. And then you get to the Rhone in those days, and there was hardly a barrel inside. If there was a barrel in the cellar, it was really old wood. Most of them were sort of big vats that weren't giving any wood flavor. And the whole idea was focused on the fruit of the grape.
Yeah.
And so that's 93. And then we're talking literally 11 years later when I established my own vineyards here at Edgebaston, that it came to fruition where I started making a blend that has 6 varieties in it. And, that's pretty much goes against the traditional sort of South African way of making wine, which is normally maximum 3 varieties.
No, but I love the, it's been a staple of mine since I joined the wine job. I mean, I was trying to work out when we first met. It was probably the year that I went to South Africa and bought this shirt. So it must be like...
You were just out of nappies when I met you. It was many moons ago.
You look a lot younger than that, though, David.
No, judging by what's happening in the top.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say. That's why I'm wearing a hat.
I was trying to work that we'd do the tasting just as the sun was setting, not once the sun had set. So, anyway, look,
you got your lighting all wrong. You need to get your daughter on working on your lighting for the next time.
Get my technicians. I mean, we go back a long way, and I think my dad actually went back with, your dad and also his former partner, Julius, and the whole connection with the business has gone back to the 1970s.
But Pepper Pot has always been a mainstay through the years of. It's quintessentially South African for us as a company. It's been with us for nearly 20 years. It's the label's changed slightly, but it's always had the Poiky on, which is excellent, which is why we've got the Poiky on the go. And I just love its balance of fruit forward, but complexity as well. It's a fantastic one.
You've explained the whole concept of cooking a Poiky, and you're doing a typically good male job of doing it forever and ever, and you might eat it by tomorrow morning, but
we might. Did you see when we took the lid off? I was a bit dubious that we'd have it done by quarter past, but Sean, he's getting there.
I'm confident.
Yeah.
I'm confident.
He's confident. I don't know if you can hear him because I had to move on to the headphones.
Okay. Look, the beauty of a Poiky is
5 or 10 minutes.
5-10 minutes. 5-10 minutes, Turkey. I think that was 5 or 10 minutes. 10 minutes
5
ago.
or 10 hours.
But, the whole idea of a sort of everything combined, and it's a typically South African cooking utensil. And when we did this wine originally in the early 2000s, we decided, it's a blend of lots of components, just like you have in a potjie. And we decided to, to give it a South African theme to the label without being, the usual critter with a lion or a leopard or an elephant on, something uniquely South African. So that was where the whole idea of the pepper pot came in. And the spiciness from the Rhone varietals that are in there, the Syrah and the Mourvedre.
Spiciness moves us on to this question that someone's just pointed out. Is tell us about Mourvedre. They don't know it.
Mourvedre.
Yeah, because is Mourvedre widely planted in South Africa? Obviously, it's known as Monastral in Spain, which you also don't ever see on the label. But Mourvedre is quite a spicy variety, isn't it?
It is. I mean, to me, it's actually the peppery thing. Everybody thinks Syrah is peppery, but Mourvedre, when you make it young, is extremely peppery. And too much of it could be overpowering in the blend. But this one, it changes every year. I can't even remember what I have in the 2017, and I can hardly read.
Do you want me?
Now.
Syrah Mourvedre, Carignan, Tanat, Grenache, Cinsault.
Yeah, there we go. So, the Mourvedre's always been quite a major spicy component in the blend, but Syrah is the backbone. I love blending. My dad taught me when I first started making wine in the early 1990s. The key thing my dad said was the good winemaker is a good blender. And if you can put different things together, it adds complexity to a wine. But at the same time, this isn't a super expensive wine. This is something you can drink with a braai, or you can drink it with a pizza, or you can, have it with tapas. You don't have to take it too seriously. And that's the whole idea. So when I have serious wines, and this is not one of them. This is something fun and easy and nice to drink.
But I think I heard someone said the expression the other day is everyone should be judged by their little wine, because that's really where you're. Really, but it's offering that value, and where can you offer value? Where can you really show your everyday wine as best you can? And you should be judged by your little wine. The wine that is the wine that you want people to drink every day is exactly where we should be at.
Yeah, and I think a lot of wines are sort of made in a winemaker's preferred style, or they try to make a statement. A wine like this, what I've found, this wine sells all over the world in different markets, from the west to the far east, and people love it because most people can find something in the blend that they associate with their foods from the region. You'll find berries in there if you like sweeter berry fruit, but you'll also find the savory peppery note.
Yeah.
So and the UK has always loved it as a wine in that market.
It's just, I've said this a number of times over the last few weeks doing tastings, is wine is all about balance. And it's like having a table with one leg out of balance. You can, no matter how out of balance it is, you can tell that it's out of balance. So whether that be your alcohol, your acidity, your fruit profile, if one of those is not in tune with the other, the table wobbles and it's uncomfortable. Whereas I think a wine like this is everything's in balance, everything's in tune, and it's just an easy going. You want to go back for a second glass, and it's great.
Yeah, well, that's it. Moorish. The wine's got to be Moorish.
Right. Sean's stirring the potjie. Is he even South African? I know he's now got a British passport, but he's stirring the potjie. Is that even allowed, David?
Only right at the end. You only stir it just before you serve it. So I hope he's got that right.
Well, apparently, so we must be right at the end. Then I'm hoping. Sean, are we right at the end?
It's the last step.
He said it's the last step because I know annoyingly we had to go onto the headphones, but he said it's the last step. These all bowls. So do you want to stay with us, David, while we try the potjie, because it could be a game changing moment.
Absolutely.
Might get up and try this again because actually it's.
Do I need to call the EMS?
No, not at all. Should we go and have a look? So here we go.
Okay, that looks pretty decent.
This is a classic
some green things. So there's
Yeah,
some
there's some
vegetables.
green things. We thought we had to add some green things just in case.
Perfect.
Right, thank you very much,
Yeah.
Sean. So we've got some poiki cost here.
Well done.
Yeah, well, in ode of the pepper pot, no doubt. So
There you go. You
And
do
so
realize
we,
if it was a real South Poiki, it would be an awful Poiki, but not that I'm into awful Poikis, but
that sounds awful. No, I'm joking. It sounds great. That offer is actually right up my street. So.
really. Looks good.
So we've got we've got hogget shoulder and hogget neck.
There we go.
A hogget shoulder and hogget neck.
Good stuff.
So it's fantastic stew. David, thank you so much. I think we're going to.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, no, nice to speak to you. We're moving on to Neil with the Troika next, so we shall speak to you soon. Cheers,
Bye.
Bye. Wow, that is so. David is. I've known David for probably 25 years, maybe even longer. And his pepper pot has always been a staple of the wine, our wine company. It's fantastically Moorish, fantastic everyday Wednesday pizza, pasta, Braai wine. And at the moment, Sean, is there a spare fork? Sorry, I need a spare fork. So yeah, it's and having a poiki sort of casserole meal. It's been going for 4 hours. We've had some lamb neck, we've had some lamb shoulder, we've got potatoes, we've got butternut squash, we've got leeks. Cheers, right? Leeks, we've got some carrots, and this special sauce. I was saying I was playing rugby with a couple of guys in 2005, False Bay. Give me that marinade. And of course, it includes chutney, apricot chutney, some beer, some spices, and some herbs, definitely some garlic, some leeks. Stew, like fantastic, vibrant stew. Goes really, really well with both of these Rhone blends, both the tin mine and the pepper pot. And hogget, if you're making a casserole, hogget is so much better than lamb. Got so much more flavor, and especially when you're making a casserole, you don't need to have the very, very supple lamb. It's much better to have a bit of a much more better. It's much better to have a bit of the flavor from a hogget because the tenderness comes from cooking it for 4 hours. So next up, we've got the Cape Chamonix Troika, and hopefully Neil will be joining us soon. Neil, if you're here, ready for you whenever you are. So Emil was first working at Chamonix when I met him. So we've been working with Chamonix for the last 10 years at least. And their Troika is one of their quintessential wines that it really gives and shows off the property really well. So Neil, I know Neil has been gone all out with the Braai, so I don't know what he's cooking exactly, but it'd be great to hear from Neil. How's it going?
Fine, yourself?
Very well, thanks. How's it going? Yeah, right. I don't know if you've seen Sean. I've got Sean helping me. It helps a hell of a lot.
Yeah, well, that's not fair, eh?
Yeah, man, I've got to taste through like 6 wines, 7 wines, and
point taken.
Oh, so what do you cook? Firstly, let's hear what you're cooking, bro.
Okay. I'm gonna turn. It's a bit dark now. We have
No, it's all good.
Sunset. I'm just gonna turn this camera quickly. So I've got don't know if you can see.
Yeah.
I'll take it off quickly. I've got a standing rib here.
Oof.
So that's been on here for about 3 hours already.
Nice.
And then I've got a picana steak. So that's basically the sirloin cap that I just put on. So it's difficult to see now, but it's a very fatty piece of the steak. And then obviously I've got this piece of equipment. It's I don't know if you can see, it's the useless bed tongs.
No, these ones, they're only good for open. They're useless.
No, I'm just joking. I use them to scrape the coals and the ash.
Get yourself a pair of these. They Agrimark and Stellenbosch have them. You know?
I've got a decent pair. So yeah, we've got some. I think it's about just over 2 kilograms of meat we're cooking. So I'm gonna have meat left till Wednesday to eat. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I just saw Emil's comment. He said Cabernet Franc does so well at this at Chamonix, and I tend to agree. I love that tomato, morello cherry, like slightly farmyardy that comes from the Troika. It's so attractive and something that goes really well with red meat, especially a tomato sauce or something like this.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think the Cabernet Franc on the farm. I mean, I spoke to Emil. We quickly spoke to him in the week, and I know like Cabernet Franc is a varietal that does very well on Chamonix. I mean, we've got certain pockets all over the farm. I mean, we've got from where I'm standing now, the bottom of the farm is about 320 meters above sea level. If you go up to about 600 meters above sea level. So we've got about 3 Cabernet Franc blocks that spread out over the farm. And I mean, Cabernet Franc does so well all over. So I think and Emil also said, if you want to plant more varietals, plant Cabernet Franc. And I totally agree with him. So
I would agree. You know what I love about it is that like vibrant tomato leaf character that you get. And for some reason, the Chamonix Troika, it has that like Cabernet Franc as instead of having that farmyardy like deep under earthy tones, it's got this fantastic Loire style, vibrant tomato leafy.
Yeah, I think the way we work with the Cabernet Franc as well in harvest season, and that's going from every red varietal we do. I don't think we try to not overwork the grapes during fermentation. So especially Cabernet Franc, it's going to be the leader of the blend in Troika. So we try to not. I know a lot of people, if you take other varietals, they do pumping over the cap or punch down 4, 5, 6 times a day. We only do it about 3 times a day. And it all goes by taste. If we see we've got enough tannin extraction, we'll settle down a bit on it. So, and even though we use about on this 2016 Cabernet or the Troika, we use 60% of new oak. So I think, especially with the Cabernet Sauvignon as well in it, that's about 30%. It normally Cabernet Sauvignon brings a lot of tight tannins to it. So I think you need a lot of new oak to loosen up that tannins, and it spends 18 months in it. So I think with the Cabernet Franc as a lead blend, it does well together. I think it's a good balance at the end of the day.
But for me, it's completely unique to a lot of Cabernet blends in the Cape because it's got this extra vibrancy, and energy and tightness that it has. It's there aren't many Bordeaux blends in the Cape that have this vibrancy, or like tension. Tension is always a word we talk about. Being with wine with some serious profile. Tension is what it's all about, and for some reason this wine has that Cabernet Franc that brings that tension to it, which is really attractive.
Yeah, I think that the Troika will always be a Cabernet Franc led blend because the reason Cabernet Franc does so well as a majority blend in the Troika. So I mean, I think back in the day it was normally just 3 varietals where it was Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, and a bit of Petit, and the other year it was just Merlot. So each year on and on, if you need a bit of that finishing touches that Merlot or even Petit brings to it, I mean, it's always there to add on. But I mean, Cabernet Franc, I think, will always stay the leading blend because it does so well in Troika.
Yeah, I love the Cabernet Franc from the junior, like 100% Cabernet Franc from Chamonix is actually one of my favorite wines. It's one of the most singular wines from South Africa. It's the energy in it and vibrancy and intrigue and uniqueness is just so intriguing, isn't it? It's yeah. Also, while we're talking about Chamonix as an estate, how have you found making pinotage, as in having one of the most highly reputed pinotages in South Africa? It's South Africa, obviously, pinotage gets a bit of a bad reputation about it being this inferior grape variety, but you having this Ripasso Amarone style have kind of cracked the style and getting over the prerequisite or the image that pinotage has. You've kind of got over it at Chamonix, hey?
Yeah, I think over all our wines, I think we go to making more like softer, elegant style wines, red wines especially. But I think this year that was like actually really fun for me on when we did the pinotage, because we did inspired Ripasso technique on it. So I harvested about 75% this year of the pinotage came in, and we fermented that. And just before, actually, I snipped the
you couldn't wait.
The bun. Hey, that's the
look.
good.
I've just been these. Oh no!
Oh,
I lost the bonus.
that had one Troika too much.
Yeah. No. Sean has just come in with the sirloin. So we had a bit of sirloin on the bone, grass-fed, belted Galloway from just around the corner. Sorry to interrupt. I mean, carry on, Neil. Carry on. Sorry.
I mean, we snipped about 15% of the block. We snipped on the vine, so you prevent water or any fluid going into the grapes. So you dry them out naturally. So after about 2.5-3 weeks, that took about, let's say, about 24 days, and then our pinotage, the first 75% that we took in was fermented just about two bricks, almost dry, and then I took in the 15% I left on the vine. So that was basically, it was almost like raisiny type of grape. So I took it in whole bunch, and I took about three barrels. So that's about 675 liters I took out, and I re-fermented on that dried out berries. So it was quite difficult to start that fermentation again with that alcohol percentage on the wine already. So
have you got is that a serious, do you have to like really buy in serious yeast for that, or is it
no, I don't, you can think so, but I just went with it. I took a yeast that I think would fit best for it, and I tried it, and I think it worked perfectly. I think I tasted it like every day. I tasted a wine, I'm like, and it's almost like a 40-star wine you get. And I just want to stop this here and drink this wine on my own now. But then eventually I stopped the wine, I think about 18% alcohol, and about the RS at about 7.5% grams per liter. So I put that 3-4 barrels apart, so that's going to make up in the 2020 pinotage blend. So I'm really excited for that. But so that's the 15% of our pinotage does this Ripasso technique that's going to add on to it.
And look, for those who don't know pinotage at home, it's can often be a great variety that gets lumped in as being inferior. It might have this burnt rubber aroma, but made properly and if you use winemaking techniques to produce this wine, you can end up producing something that is incredibly complex with incredible length and fantastic balance as well.
Yeah, I think over all the South African wineries, I think back in the day, pinotage was a very small percentage of wineries made Pinotage, but now
Yeah.
it's a common wine all over, and I think everyone is experimenting on their own, bringing their own unique touch to their own Pinotage from their own estate. So I think that's what, and especially if we go back to Cabernet Franc again, single varietal Cabernet Franc. A few years back, it was not a big thing for wineries making a single varietal Cabernet Franc. After 10 years now, I think everyone does it. So you learn from each winery. So you see, okay, this is unique, and you can see what each winery brings to the table.
Yeah. No, it's been a great journey tasting Cabernet Franc over the years from Chamonix, and also Pinotage.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Brilliant. Neil, thank you so much. We're going to have to, I'm sort of running behind schedule of course.
I noticed.
Have you, how long are you off from eating? Are you,
Probably about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
maybe we'll come back to you a bit later when you're cutting that, because I think a lot of people want to see you cut into that steak. So let me know, like drop a comment in when you've finished cooking.
Do you still have some of that castle beer left?
Yeah, of course.
I think if you can sell that in South Africa now, you get a pretty penny for that with all this lockdown.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, I hope you're surviving, eh?
Yeah, we will. Hopefully.
Yeah, no. Emo just said, don't blame the grape, blame the producer with Pinotage. I think he's absolutely spot on.
Yeah, no, that's why everyone brings their own thing to the table. So if you do it right, I think you'll make a good Pinotage.
Yeah, very good. Thanks so much, Neil. We'll chat soon, eh? Thanks so much. Bye.
All right, bye.
Perfect. So that was the Chamonix Troika, everyone. I just love the vibrancy that the Cabernet Franc brings to a Bordeaux blend. It's not necessarily something you'd see from Bordeaux, but the vibrancy and like elegancy that comes from that like tomato leaf, very, very vibrant red cherry aroma from the Cabernet Franc is excellent. So very, very last, but not least by any means, we will be tasting the Tokara Director's Reserve Red. I think we'll have most of the team from Tokara, in fact. I don't know when they're here, but if you're here, guys, please request to join. This steak that Sean has prepared for the Troika is absolutely delicious. Sean, you've actually excelled yourself with this steak, by the way.
Good to know.
So I think this is a locally grown cattle from Box Hill. It's grass-fed throughout its life, never corn-fed, from Box Hill, belted Galloway, so local, well, not local, but indigenous UK breed. And it's used to actually increase the biodiversity of grazing on the side of Box Hill, because they need heavy mammal grazing to help clear the grass and also create paths for insects to burrow, etc. So if anyone's got any comments about the Troika, etc., it'd be great to hear what you're thinking. Freddie, great to hear that it's been winking you. You should really go for it. Sean, dig into the Troika. Carl, if you're about, it'd be great to hear from you. We should move on to the Tokara Director's Reserve.
Perhaps a quick shout out to the Bamfords in Yorkshire. I hear you guys are cooking up a storm, and enjoy.
I hope you hear Sean. Shout out to the Bamfords in Yorkshire who are cooking up a storm. Yeah, no, Emil, you're right. Sean has done us all proud. It's been fantastic. He's cooked me every single meal. Yeah, I planned it all out, but he's executed it. Carl, yeah, so go and say hi to Carl at Tokara. So, last but not least, the Tokara boys. There we go. Carl, Stuart, how are we doing? It's a little bit slow. Stuart, hi. Oh, you got the Braai brookies on the go? Just checking the connection's all right. Yeah, very well. Yeah, it's we've had a mixed couple of days. We had sun and then rain. We had a couple of days with full 3 seasons in. Oh, look at those Braai brookies. Sean, show us our Braai brookies. We also have Braai brookies on the go.
Doing right at the moment.
It's
Slowly.
What about the roaster cooks?
Elliot made his own sourdough. He's been in the kitchen.
Yeah, so we've made some Braai brookies. We've also got some roaster cooks, but more importantly, let's have a chat about the Directors Reserve 2016.
You got the 16 funny, fantastic. This is obviously our flagship bread. One thing I love order style, but really a snapshot of every single vintage. So a fantastic wine to actually build a collection of and keep a vintage of every year, because arguably this is the best parcels, best components of all of the 5 varieties that we have on the property in Stellenbosch on the side of the Simmonsburg here. Complete barrels of the best Cabernet Sauvignon led for every single vintage. So for me, this is really a wonderful way to have a good look into particular vintage class. Elliot, is there a delay or are you seeing us pretty live?
There's a little bit of a delay and a bit pixelated, so I'm trying to work around it, but I'm sure we can get by.
I don't know if you can see in the background, we have a beautiful view.
No,
all the way over. All the way over the table back.
15 minutes ago, you would have seen Table Mountain.
Sorry, guys. It's Emil from Hamilton Russell was a bit delayed, and he put a spanner in the works. But sorry if. Yeah.
We've been watching Braai, and we've had a couple of steaks on the Braai, lamb chops as well. Ready to come online. So
You must remember that in South Africa we've got a lockdown situation, so there is a curfew, which means that all vehicular traffic has to stop at 8 o'clock at night. So I have to race from Tokara back home to Wellington in 45 minutes flat. And if I don't, I will be spending the night courtesy of our SAPS. Yes, lovely.
What time you've got in about 20 minutes? You've got an announcement as well, do we not?
Yes, we have a little bit of insider information that says that the trade of liquor for off consumption is going to be allowed. So we're hoping that that comes through. On consumption is a different story, but at least people are then going to be able to really enjoy South African wine again, which is a massive plus. So we're going to see an influx of orders, and distribution will happen. Transport is allowed. So it's all lucky. It's positive. It's really cool. You need something to drink with your.
Yeah, I do. So tell me a little bit about the Directors Reserve. I know we're mainly on a Bordeaux blend here, and Cabernet Sauvignon dominant. But what's the story behind?
I'm gonna interrupt. The person who you need to talk to is that one. No. Aiden's been here for over 20 years. The entire farm's history is dedicated to the production of this wine. So it's been planned for a very long time. And I think the person who is able to best elucidate what happened there is Aiden.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
So I was told to come here and Braai brookies. I didn't know I was talking about vineyards.
Yeah, you can do both, eh?
So yeah, when we sat down with this property 20 years ago, this wine was what we were trying to design and what we had in mind in the layout of the vineyards. In those days, Giles Webb next door from Salima was helping us get this show going, and it was an exciting to sit down with almost a blank canvas of this incredible terroir, and work out where we were going to plant what, with this particular wine in mind. And we weren't shy to consult and chat to our neighbours, which we're fortunate to have people like the Barlows from Rustenburg and Giles Webb from Thelema next door. And Giles was honest enough to say that if we can have a second go at this and design an awesome red that'll fit these terroirs, let's do it. So yeah, this is what we had in mind. We had this incredible property. And
you got a nice spot.
So if I hold mine close to the screen, it looks big too, eh?
We've got some big glasses as well.
Yeah. Look,
yeah,
so finished, Carl.
Yeah, this wine is kind of a combination of 20 years of planning the tapestry of this beautiful property, and we were fortunate to have these soils and these terroirs and this incredible site. So and then also the knowledge of neighbours and the history of Stellenbosch to weave into that story. So yeah, I think we're very happy. Have you got the 16 there?
Yeah, we've got 16. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was the year of the big fire here on the mountain.
Yeah.
And it was a very challenging for everybody. We had this fire that we did a full 360 around the Simonsberg mountain, and we were all dodging flames and smoke, trying to make wine and pick grapes. So yeah, I think it was a very, very difficult year. One we won't forget.
Yeah.
By the way, how are your Braai brookies?
Right.
Oh,
all right, Sean. No, here we go. No, let's go. What I'm more worried about is I have planned some roaster cooks, but all right, look, there's two things that are missing.
These are starting slowly.
So we've got some roaster cooks that are starting.
Oh
yeah, that looks very good.
Here we go. These are good, no?
Very, very good.
So we've got some, and then here we've got some roaster cooks, but they look a bit more like ciabattas than roaster cooks at the moment. But there we go. And then so we've got some millies and some for later. Very good. So was there anything that determined the blend? Why did you settle with Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc? Was it anything in particular, or do you think that is what the Simonsberg needed to hang its hat on?
I think we always knew the Bordeaux varieties would do well on this farm, and we planted a huge variety of clones across all 5 varieties. So we had lots of small pieces to work from, and we adopted this infrared remote sensing from the early days, where we flew the vineyards with our aeroplanes, and then later on drone. So we had so many components to work with. The Bordeaux variety we knew would work well. What the clones would deliver, we weren't quite sure of, so we sort of covered. And yeah, and I mean, this side of the mountain, if you look at our neighbours, Dale, Thelema, Tokara, Rustenburg, going around, Kanonkop, Warwick. I mean, this is the place to grow red varieties in the country. And knowing that, and with these incredible soils and the farm that we had, I think we kind of knew we were going to do something special. Exactly what each clone would deliver, we didn't know until they were in full production. So that was part of the journey, part of the adventure of building this wine.
So what aspect is the Simonsberg from you guys, from Thelema to you guys? Is that all It's south. It's all south facing, isn't it?
Yes. If you look from Stellenbosch, we're south, but on the farm, because we've got the undulation of the hills, we have got north facing slopes, obviously more suited to red. So every bit of warm slope farm, we decided to plant to red. So where it is true south cold, we've got our some Chardonnays, but on all the warm slopes, and luckily we do have the undulation. Otherwise, we would only have a cool south-facing vineyard. So we do have.
I mean, we were saying earlier that Stellenbosch really needs to be subdivided into some more unique parcels, rather than just being Stellenbosch, or even. I mean, in the UK, more often than not, you see South Africa just bunched into South Africa, not even into Stellenbosch or Himelanade or Elgin, or you just see things grouped into a South African category. And I think Stellenbosch is one of the regions in the world that needs to be subdivided, and people start putting on the labels more wards. And I think it's a perfect example of how that can start to happen.
We do have the ward system. I think we probably feel that people know Stellenbosch better than they know the Bunnock or Simonsburg north or south, or so.
Of course.
Whatever. So yeah, I mean, we've got the Botteray Hills. We do have the wards, and they've been in place for many years. But I think as a brand, we feel Stellenbosch is a stronger brand than those individual wards.
But it's now about promoting and explaining the wards. It's having a north-facing slope in the Botteray Hills that is, or a south-facing slope in the Botteray Hills that is 500 or 300, 400 meters above sea level. It's very, very different to a south-facing slope in on the Simonsberg. There's so many different terroirs, both in soil aspect that provided. So a great chance to start differentiating between one or the other. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much. How are your Braai rookies then, guys? Are you what? So have you got?
Very important. You got to listen. Okay. So, and I can see that you've been sipping everybody's wine copiously. So, I studied winemaking a long time ago, and I remember the day that I said to my viticultural professor and my soil science professor, and funny enough, Evan and David, two of the most phenomenal gentlemen of our industry in a very long time. And I said to them, you know what, if you had to choose, where would your perfect place be to produce the very best red wine in South Africa? And they said the mid-slope of the Simonsberg facing south. And that's 25 years
Tokara.
ago. And even then, this hill was recognized as something really, really special.
Yeah, it is a special place.
Are you still with us? We're getting a...
Yeah, I know. So there's a little bit of a delay. And it's not just me. It's not just me. The fact that I've been drinking for 2 hours, drinking everyone's wine for 2 hours. There is a technical delay as well.
Sean is doing the one-legged walk in the background, by the way.
Sean, what's the plan? We've got some roaster cooks as well, but I don't think it's going to work. Sean says 2 minutes, and we're on Braai Rookie.
You've been through about 7 meals up to now.
And 5 bottles.
No, I've had 7 bottles and 4 meals. What do we think? Guys, look. What do we think, chaps?
Oh, very good. Wow.
Oh, that's perfect.
So we've got some sourdough Braai rookies. And how about the roaster cooks?
It's just not a big green egg, it's a big red egg.
No, that's a Kamada Joe.
It's a Kamada Joe. Yeah, we've got the roaster cook too. We're just about to cut this in half and have some apricot jam and cheese in the middle. Sure.
Oh,
That's exactly it.
And buckets of butter.
Lots of butter.
Where's the rest of the family?
Well, Mum and Dad are at home. Oliver's at home. Robbie is at home. And we've got the one person we're allowed to mix with outside of your household is Sean. And he's cooking this evening. He cycled down all the way from Kennington to help us out this afternoon for his dedication to the South African wine trade, which is really encouraging.
That's
The man of bottle of direction.
was he wearing his mask?
All right, here we go.
Okay, let's have a look.
No.
We'll hold it up to the camera.
Rookies?
Oh,
this one.
Yeah. And you've got a little bit of Mrs. Ball.
Yeah, we've got Mrs. Balls. We've got this is sourdough as well. I made the sourdough last night, so.
I know you're missing on your Braai rookie. That's a good.
Oh.
There we go. Not to be left out.
Here we go.
Fantastic.
He's going to eat.
I like that.
Yeah.
I see what.
Here we go.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, chaps. Thanks for joining, and I'll we shall see you soon. Hope the in 4 minutes you will get Mr. Ramaphosa, and let us know how you get on, because I'm sure we will. We'll want to hear.
The three containers that you ordered are on their way, by the way.
Good stuff. That's excellent, because we need it. It's been very, very popular. Right. Love you guys. See you soon. Bye. Right. That was the Tokara boys, the viticulturist, the winemaker, general manager who oversees everything. Fantastic. It's been fantastic to taste these wines with everyone for the last 2 hours. I must admit, I might have drunk a little bit too much wine, but at the same time, it's really important to get behind the South African wine industry. They have had a terrible few years. The last year has been, this year with lockdown's been terrible. I just want to say thank you to Sean for serving me all the meals. It's been amazing. Thank you again all so much for watching. If you've got any questions, please just fire them over to me. Love to answer anyone's questions, whether it be on Braai or wine. Speak to you soon, and I will chat later.